Hi everyone, I'm Suma and I'm here with Patrick. He's an exec at the Root Brands company.
Yes.
Welcome, Patrick.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we are here at the Biohackers World Conference here in Los Angeles, West Hollywood. Patrick, I would love to know from you, what was the inspiration behind starting this company, the Root Brands?
Yeah, so the founders, Dr. Ram and Clayton Thomas, have been in the health and wellness industry for quite some time. And the formulations that we have at the Root Brands were formulated by Dr. Ram because she found a need and she created the products for herself and for her family because of some of the things that she was diagnosed with. So at an early age, she was diagnosed with Lyme's disease. She's also had molar tumors and cancers. She lost a child when she was pregnant to cancer. And so she's been through a lot medically. And so it strived her to, one, seek to understand more about what's going on in our environment, understanding ingredients. And then on the other side of that, her husband, Clayton Thomas, has been in the wellness industry from a young age because his father owned a veterinarian practice. And so he's been aligned in terms of just what's going on in our environment. And so he's always really been keen to health and wellness and on the cutting edge of what ingredients can be used. And so from that, it really spawned a company called the Root Brands. We were founded and officially launched on February 2nd of 2020. And it really catapulted us because you know what happened in 2020. And so we really became one of the leaders in the industry in terms of helping eradicate environmental pollutants, pull out heavy metals and toxicity from the body to help the body become more bioavailable so that you can absorb the proper nutrients that you're taking. And I think I say this a lot at these events, at biohacking events. Some of the products that they use and some of these modalities are great, but unfortunately, if you're toxic, if you have mercury poisoning, if you have fluoride in your body, if you're constantly being bogged down by toxins in your normal environment, you're not going to absorb any of these wonderful products that all these great companies have. I'm not trying to say that the Root Brands is the one-stop shop for all your wellness needs, but what I am saying is you got to get to the root of the cause, no pun intended, with our company being the Root Brands, but you have to find a way to get the body to become bioavailable and to get your lymphatic, your glymphatic, your liver, your kidneys operating the way that they're supposed to.
And since this brand is mainly in the wellness industry, and most of us are aware that wellness industry can be infiltrated with pseudoscience. Mm-hmm. How do you make sure that this product is backed with, has a strong backing of science?
Yeah, that's a great question. So education is one of our pillars of foundation, and it's something that really separates us from the rest. Not only do we create products, but we form education around the products. So your question asks is how do we make sure that our products are great? So we have patented processes that are attached to the process. One of the most recent patents that we've focused pretty good on is our lectin patented process. So lectins are from plants and they're very harmful to humans if you ingest them. And so what a lot of people don't understand is that products when they're manufactured, the ingredients that make up that product are not detoxified, they're not cleaned properly. And so if you're just sourcing products and ingredients throughout the world and then putting them into a formulation and not really doing your due diligence to ensure that they're properly detoxed, properly clean, whether it's washing the coffee bean, whether it's cleaning the chlorophyll that's in our Relive Greens product, you're just putting more toxins, more heavy metals into your body. And so these ingredients aren't able to do exactly what they're supposed to. It's kind of like going to the grocery store now and you get a bag of lettuce. 5 years ago, there was a little bit more nutrients. You know, we are slowly deteriorating our soil. We're slowly deteriorating our environment just from everything that we're doing, from microplastics to glyphosate. We have harmed our environment pretty significantly. And so you have to make sure that you're doing the proper mechanisms and ways of formulation for your products and really going down to the ingredient level.
And something I noticed about your formulation was when I tried the Root brand coffee this morning, it has a different feel. Like you feel energized, but you don't feel that jitters that normal coffee has. What do you think is the secret?
Yeah, well, here's a little secret. The coffee that we're using for the show, it's 3 years old. and it was roasted 3 years ago. And we don't share that a lot, but when we're sharing that little tidbit, it's like people wonder, wow, how is your coffee still so good and it was roasted 3 years ago? That comes through the patented process using the lectin patent, because coffee is a bean, and so it comes from a seed. And when you talk about the 3-step washing process, and then what we have is a concentrated formulation called Clean Slate. That's our foundational product that's going to pull out heavy metals. We spray that on the beans before we roast the bean. And so not only is our coffee fair trade, it comes from an organic farm in Guatemala at 1,700 meters elevation. We single farm source, make sure it's ethically sourced, make sure that the farmers are getting paid well, there's no slave labor involved in it. So we make sure that our coffee is very, very unique. And not only do we source it from a unique region in Guatemala, we ship it all the way to Turkey with a master roaster that's going to roast the bean. So we spend a lot of money on our coffee, and it goes to show, if we can still be brewing coffee that was roasted over 3 years ago and it still tastes decent, just think if it was roasted about 6 months ago. And so we don't really share that a lot, but it's something where you can say that our coffee holds up very, very well.
And that's really amazing.
Yeah.
And in general, in the space of biohacking or even wellness, what do you think is like one of the biggest misconception that most people don't know about?
The biggest misconception is everybody's different. Everybody has their own modalities. Everybody has their own, like, this is how I get up. This is my morning routine. This is my night routine. Whatever works for you, as long as you can look in the mirror and say, I feel great today, that's all that should matter. You can cold plunge your face off. You can go into the sauna as long as you want. You can burn as much weight as you want. You can count your calories. You can eat carnivore. You can be gluten-free. But you know what? If you can't look in the mirror and look at yourself and feel like you're doing very, very well, or you feel great, then you have to change something in your life. You have to make that change. And what works for you might not work for me. And we say that all the time. Like, you don't need to buy our products. You can go somewhere else. I take other products from different companies. I'm a huge advocate for just great products that I like, that my body can obtain. I have celiac disease, so I have to be uber careful about what I eat and what I put into my body. And so I'm very, very much like, if our products aren't for you, that's perfectly fine. But I think everyone just needs to be able to look at themselves in the mirror and think, do I feel good today? And if you can't say yes to that, then you need to change something in your life.
So basically experiment with yourself and come up with your own custom protocol.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting now is that the research that's going in, and you have people like Dr. Peter Attia, Andrew Huberman, you have obviously Dave Asprey, who's put a huge magnifying glass on this, Dr. Ram, Brian Johnson. You have all these people that are doing all these like really, really strange modalities. You look at the recent methylene blue that everyone's focused on because RFK Jr. was on an airplane and he put it in his water. There's a lot of things out there, and it can get very, very overwhelming. You really just need to start slow and small and think of unique ways that you can make a difference. Maybe it's fasting for 24 hours. Maybe it's water fasting for 24 hours. Maybe it's doing sauna or meditation or yoga. Starting small and taking small little bite sizes out of what we call biohacking is the best way to go, because you can take a very large bite of some of these, and spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. But ultimately, it's up to you about what you want to do and the way in which you want to move through the world and try to optimize one's health. Because I think we all want to stay here for a little bit longer, right? We all want to increase. We all want to be healthy. We all want to be mobile when we get to that age where a lot of people are starting to deteriorate. And I think that's the biggest thing is I want to be able to run around with my kids when I'm 80.
Yeah, it's about increasing the health span versus lifespan.
Yeah, it's about, quality of life, not necessarily quantity of life. Mm-hmm. You want to make sure that the quality when you're at that age, I don't want to be in a wheelchair. I want to be that guy that's still running, that's still going out and exercising, playing pickleball, doing whatever the things are that, you want to do. I think it's about quality, not quantity.
And among all the innovations you noticed so far at the conference, was there anything that stood out for you apart from the root brands?
Yeah, I actually, there was a Shilajit company that's here. I don't remember the name of them. I tried that tincture that he had, and that was delicious. I'm a big fan of Ayurvedic medicine, and so I was very keen to that. There was a couple of the peptide booths, so they had some peptides like BPC 157 and human growth hormone peptides. A lot of, and then Lila Quantum is a really good company. So there's a lot of new companies that are coming out, and it's really great, but you also have to make sure that you're doing your due diligence, researching the company, making sure they have certificate of analysis, making sure that they're doing their due diligence to make sure that wherever they manufacture, it's GMP manufacturing, they're NSF or BSCG certified, making sure that they have all their proper certifications, HACCP plans in place at their manufacturing facility, to ensure that you're getting what they say you're getting.
And anything you notice that is kind of underrated in the biohacking space, but it's actually quite impactful?
You know what? Walking on grass, grounding, sun gazing, I think is completely underrated. These are simple ways in which you can not only boost your testosterone, you can boost natural vitamin D levels, sun gazing in the morning and at night, just earthing, grounding, walking around on the soil. These are something that, even turning your shower cold in the morning for 2 minutes. You don't need to buy a $7,000 cold plunge. You don't need to buy a sauna. You can do some really unique biohacking modalities in the comfort of your own home for a fraction of the cost that somebody like a Brian Johnson might do, or when you have Gary Brecka, who's now has his office in a hyperbaric chamber. These are all great, but they're expensive, and things are getting cheaper. I remember when I first got my cold plunge, it was really expensive, and now they're coming out with cold plunges for like $2,000 or $3,000. You just need to find what works for you, but you can literally just walk outside and have some of the most, normal environmental from earth biohacking modalities.
That is a great advice. There's a version of some of these protocols. You can do it for free, naturally.
Exactly.
And where do you see the future of this preventative healthcare, let's say in 5-10 years down the line?
I think less than that. I think in 2 to 3 years. We are in a healthcare, I think, is broken. And I am very excited about this new administration that's really shining a magnifying glass, no matter what your political beliefs are. I think we need to be all concerned about our children. I think we all need to be concerned with, a child isn't a Republican or a Democrat. They're children, and they can't speak for themselves. And I think that we're really excited about this new administration that's really focusing on, getting down to the root of all aspects of just living a wonderful life. And when you look at the healthcare system, it's broken. It's extremely broken. And I want to make sure that I'm making decisions for my life that are going to help negate something that's going to hit me harder when I'm in my 60s and 70s. So if I can make a couple lifestyle changes now, whether it's maybe not drinking a lot, maybe it's using some unique vitamins or supplements or nutrients that are going to help me, I'd rather do that now so that I'm not hit hard when I'm in my 60s, 70s, and 80s with like colon cancer, pancreatic cancer, or lung cancer. These are things that are coming up, and I think you have to take a look at your life. You have to take a look at some things that you can prevent. And I think all these companies like Get Blokes, where you can get your blood tests, you can kind of get a look under the hood. They can give you, really results driven so that you can analyze how I can make some unique differences. That's why we just launched the genetic test with the Brute brand. So we want to make sure that, you might have a predisposition, whether you need to know when to work out in the morning or at night, how you absorb nutrients, what CBD or THC might be beneficial for you. And so I think as long as you have a roadmap of what works for your body, you can make some really unique decisions that's going to help prolong life for you.
That's amazing. I feel like you've shared a lot of key insights in such a concise way. It's very hard to keep your message simple. So I really commend you for being able to keep it concise, but also filled with so many insights in there.
Thanks. I try. You know, we say that education, and I work next to two amazing humans, Clayton Thomas and Dr. Christina Ram. I've learned a lot from them, but I've also done a lot of research on myself because when I got diagnosed with celiac disease, I had to. There was no, it's a nice to have, it was a need to have. So I have to be uber careful about what I eat. When I go grocery shopping, we don't really eat out that often because it's really hard with seed oils and glyphosate, and, you know, God forbid a cross-contamination happens. And so it really was forced upon me, but it's a double-edged sword. It's a blessing in disguise. You know, I'm 45 years old going on 46 and I feel incredible. I feel like I look incredible. I'm at a great weight. And so I look at all these modalities, and the biohacking really started for me when I got diagnosed with celiac disease.
Wow. And it sounds like I'm hearing that we can micro-optimize certain areas that we tend to see it as like just regular life, maybe even grocery shopping and
Absolutely.
the clothes we wear.
Absolutely.
So there are a lot of areas we can make improvements.
Yeah, I think small little decisions can compound into something really, really big, especially over time. When you think about it, people underestimate what they can do in 1 year, but they overestimate what they can do in 5.
Thank you for being so gracious about explaining all these details. I hope, is there anything I missed that you would like to share today?
No, I think it's just everyone needs to find out what's going to work for them, you know, and like I was saying, I'm a big proponent of looking in the mirror and asking yourself, do you feel good today? Even if it's a mental health check-in. I think we all need to make sure that we, you know, one of the things that when somebody is on their deathbed, you know, they wanted to spend more time with their family, they wanted to talk to their friends more, and they wanted to connect with humans more. I think connection is one of the biggest things that we need to focus on, and it's probably a superpower that not a lot of people really think is important. And as we get into this digital age, we need to realize that sometimes just touching somebody or reaching out or hugging somebody or just hearing a voice can really do a lot, not only to your nervous system, but just to you as a person. And so I'm a strong proponent for being together in community, connecting with individuals in person. I think it's really important.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate your time, and you've been brilliant in being able to share this message.
Thank you so much. Yeah, go check us out at therootbrands.com. You can find out all of our products if you're interested in checking them out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It doesn't take one conference, it takes multiple. That's why I hope to see you guys in Chicago, Miami. You guys should join my WhatsApp group, and we all truly become friends.